Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is our latest episode of Throne Thursdays, where I am joined by my co-hosts, Tyler Calvert and Alyssa from Mainely Movies, as we watch and react to every episode of Game of Thrones. And today, we are on Season 1, Episode 5. The last episode, we saw Daenerys and the Dothraki horde all arrive at Vos Dothrak, which is their ancient temple city, their sacred city. And once in there, we saw Viserys threaten Daenerys again, slap her to the ground. But for the first time, Dany grabbed something and just whopped him upside the head and told him if he touches her again, he loses his hands. Plus, she had a nice little conversation with Jorah about the succession and if her brother actually should be king. Then, over in King's Landing, we saw Ned bopping around doing some. So, down in King's Landing, we had Ned bopping around the town doing some investigatory work as he found Robert Baratheon's supposed bastard son, Gendry, and he was following little breadcrumbs left by Jon Arryn to discover what it was that might have had the former Hand of the King murdered. We also saw a little bit at this jousting tournament that ended in quite the brutal death of a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms who also was a part of Ned's little puzzle piece to figure out this mystery. But we heard a little bit about the backstory of the Hound and met his brother, the Mountain, and Littlefinger up to his mysterious ways as he, on one hand, helped Ned, on the other hand, scared Sansa. So, fun times to be had all around.
Evil.
And then, right at the end of the episode, we saw that Catelyn Stark decided to take things into her own hands when Tyrion entered the same inn that she was in. After the information she received regarding the dagger that was used on her son's attempted murder, decided she was going to take Tyrion in to Winterfell for justice herself. And then up at the wall, we also saw Samwell Tarly for the first time, and John made a little friend in Sam.
we like Samwell Tarly here.
At least one half.
Speak for yourself.
One half of these two like Samwell Tarly.
Yeah.
That is where we left off, starting here on episode 5, which is titled The Wolf and the Lion. So, presumably, we are dealing with, you guessed it, the Starks and the Lannister.
Oh, we're not. It's not all about actual wolves versus actual
I was
lions.
excited for the dire wolves. I was like, I should have worn my joyous wolf shirt today.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into episode 5. Also today, rocking my Tyrion shirt. So
Oh, even better.
The new place, y'all.
I was gonna say.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We have yet to see this theory.
I do generally appreciate the design and all the effort that was put into making this opening theme, because like a lot of shows don't really care that much about their opening theme.
When all of these little world building things going on. Nice little preview of where you'll be visiting this episode.
I hear the king wants to joust today. Yeah, that will never happen. Robert tends to do what he wants.
If the king got what he wanted all the time.
I would love to see the king
I was
joust.
gonna say, can you imagine that guy like jousting?
Your mother was a dumb whore with a fat ass. Did you know that? Oh, it's funny, is it?
No, Your Grace.
No. You don't like the hands joke?
That poor guy has just been thrown to the
You heard the
wolves.
hand. The king's too
The whole
fat for his
time he's never
armor.
been on
Go
screen.
find the breastplate stretcher. Hey, come, bow before your king. Bow, you shits.
I'm kind of disappointed that we're not going to see him joust. Oh, it's the mountain again.
At her dancing lessons. The Night of the Flowers.
Yeah, I don't think that guy's gonna do pretty well. Have to see what his helmet looks like.
That's Iron Fist.
His helmet looks a little bit more protective, but there's still
from the
too much of a gap there.
You could even buy a friend.
I like his helmet. I mean, I don't know how practical it is, but it looks nice. Oh my god, it's an upset. I'm glad that Iron Fist got to live another day.
For now, until this guy goes after him.
Yeah, maybe I spoke too soon. That's a big sword. Oh, Jesus. I wasn't expecting a horse murder. I think this is the definition of being a sore loser. Oh no, Hound versus the Mountain? Alright. These are two very large men. Let's see what happens. R.I.P. horse. So I guess is Iron Fist kind of like her new fling? It's gonna be like a love triangle.
Smitten with him.
I mean, he
I feel
definitely
like
looks much
Joffrey's
better.
gonna go after him then.
He looks much better than Joffrey. Poor Tyrion.
I thought maybe that was Rickle or Rickon.
Just captured.
I don't know, like they were like...
Just
Catelyn
explain where he's
decided to
been.
blindfold him.
You said we were riding for...
You'll be out in droves,
So
looking for
Catelyn
me in the wrong place.
out here
Word's
playing
probably got
tricks,
into my father
not
by
actually
now.
going back to
He'll be
Winterfell.
offering a handsome reward.
Nice.
Everyone knows a Lannister always pays his debts.
Oh, never mind. Tyrion. Go, Tyrion. Yeah.
It's like midsummer over here.
Jesus. Jesus
You got
Christ.
him.
Truly a minute.
Tyrion didn't even need any sort of blades. He just used a shield.
Dothraki boys learn when they're 4 years old. Why shouldn't you?
Brand's gonna get his own special like horse riding arrow contraption. I'm just seeing Ned every episode be more and more done.
What sort of doom does the king face?
The same sort as John Arryn.
I have a feeling she's gonna see something she's not supposed to.
Maybe.
Come around in dungeons after cats.
The wolf and the lion will bit each other's throats.
No,
We
he
will
said
be
it.
war soon.
Well, she certainly heard something she wasn't meant to.
I feel like she could fit through that if she really wanted to.
The logistics alone to find beautiful corpses before they
And they're just like roasting each other.
Speaking, such a thing would not be in accordance with the king's laws.
Strictly speaking.
Like the most elegant roast session I've ever
Tell me,
seen.
does someone somewhere keep your balls in a little box?
Oh,
To think, a simple word to the queen.
One shudders at the thought.
You want your father, boy? He's lying on the floor of some tavern,
boy.
getting pissed on by his friends.
And if you lay a hand on me, my father will have both your heads on spikes. Now, are you going to let me by, or do I need to smack you on the ear to help with your hearing?
Damn. Arya just laying down the business.
You know I had half my guard out, sir.
Give me 10 good men and some climbing spikes. I'll impregnate the bitch.
How do you feel about that saying there?
I think that guy, all he talks about is sex. I think every line he's had is sexual of some kind.
This girl no ill will, but should the Dothraki invade...
Man, these people are just having like a full-blown discussion on if we go kill Daenerys and her kid or not.
Is it not? You'll do as I command, or I'll find me a hand who will.
Tensions are high.
Oh, the equivalent of turning in his badge and gun.
Yeah, and he's like, you can't fire me, I quit.
Out, damn you, I'm done with you.
Damn. I guess friendship over. Oh. All right,
Your
then.
has done a bad thing, Robin, a very bad thing.
Seems a little
remember her,
old to
don't you?
still be doing that.
Isn't he
Yeah,
beautiful? And
I would say
strong,
so.
too?
Did I kill him too? I've been a very busy man.
Watch your tongue.
This kid's like 12 years old.
He's just
This
trying
is
to
so
frighten
weird.
us. Lannisters are all...
Oh,
It's
That's
a
a
unique
long-
prison cell.
that's a long way down. I mean, I guess it's an interesting kind of cell to have. You just have a very nice view. at
Yeah,
all
I was gonna
times.
say, good view.
Yeah, just don't ever go near the ledge, I guess.
Yes, well, I guess we'll never know.
This very intimate scene where a man shaves another man's chest.
I
Where is
just
it
really
written
need him to shave that guy's
power
other
is the
pit.
sole
'Cause it's gonna,
province of the
like,
worst?
that's one
that
one hairy
thrones only
armpit,
made
one
for the
not.
hated
And
and the feared?
apparently that's not gonna be the plan right now, but
You
No,
will be
they got
a
other
wonderful
things to
king.
do. Well, there goes my
Your love
My-
triangle theory.
my question if there is going to be a love triangle between him and Sansa and Joffrey.
What do you want?
He just wants to get turned up.
I felt something for you once, you know.
This king is slowly just losing me every episode, it
Quite a
seems
while,
like.
actually.
I really liked him at the beginning.
She looks like
Just a
him,
giant baby.
don't she, my lord? She has his nose, his black
Like,
hair.
look at it, it's huge.
Aye.
Brothels make a much better investment than ships, I've found. Whores rarely sink.
Oh, Littlefinger.
hey, the other half of the incest thing.
Nice to see Jamie's Nick
Small
Terrence.
pack of wolves.
My lords! I'll bring the city watch.
Shit's about to get real.
Take him alive. Kill us now.
Oh no. Another battle. Jesus. Oh no. Well,
Should have let that guy look at the prostitute a little bit longer.
Jamie's just a terrible man. Get him, Ned. Get him.
Just makes me nervous because it's Sean Bean.
Of course. Oh no, a sneak attack. That's not very fair. They cheated. Well, he deserved that one. Well, I hope he's not dead. It'd be a really crappy way to die. Leave him there. No, come on, that's the end of the episode. I need to know, did he live? Was he killed by a thigh stab?
I know. Could have gotten its femoral artery pretty easily there. But you were right. No Dothrakis and no Jon Snow.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
I didn't have to be annoyed by Sam.
Sam lives another day.
Sam
by not-
survives.
Sam lives
Longer
to
than
see
I
another
thought he was
episode.
gonna, so.
Just by him not being in the episode, he lives to see another episode.
All right. Well, as you alluded to, this was a bit more of an action-oriented episode with several fights throughout compared to the first couple of episodes. So how are you feeling about episode 5, Alyssa?
I like the kind of the focus on Ned. I do think him and his storyline and this investigation are kind of among the more interesting things going on right now with all the different places. So like I don't really like the Wall or Jon Snow all that much, so it was kind of nice to have a break from him. But yeah, I mean the action was pretty good. There were some fights which were pretty decent. A horse got its head chopped off, which was a little unexpected, but
that was a surprise. That was not what I was expecting.
yeah, this one felt less like a filler episode, like last week's did.
Tyler?
I enjoyed the episode quite a bit. I mean, the story is unfolding in an interesting way. I do agree that Ned's storyline probably is the most interesting out of all of the different storylines going on throughout Game of Thrones right now. Well, I mean, I am a little biased just because I do like Ned a lot. So I think his story has the most interesting weight to it, especially as tensions do seem to flare with him and the king, as that mystery is unfolding. And then we get a couple of the other storylines as well. We'll see what happens, I guess, just because we left off the episode with him just laying on the ground, just keeled over with a giant spear, that sword or whatever you want to call it, through his thigh. And Sean Bean doesn't have the best track record when it comes to his character staying alive. But I did think it was a pretty good episode overall. I was a little surprised that we really didn't get any Daenerys, the Dothraki, a lot of name drops, but they never
especially
actually
as much
showed
as we
up.
talked about them.
But yeah, and then there was just really no mention really at all, really, as far as I can remember, of John or the Wall. I mean, the Wall was brought up because they needed to send more people to the Wall, but a little upset no Sam or John. Wanted to see their friendship blossom some more. But it looks like they're obviously they're going to try and plot against Ned, down low. When the few scenes we saw with Arya, so we'll see how that unfolds. The drama seems to escalate each episode.
No John, no Daenerys, but we did get to see Roz.
We did meet Roz. Well, we kicked this episode off basically following Catelyn again after Ned is doing more investigation. We meet up with Catelyn, who is taking Tyrion to her sister up at the Eyrie after she loudly announced in the inn last episode that she would be taking him to Winterfell. We then get to meet Lady Lysa Arryn and her son, Robin Arryn, in a very interesting introduction to the character.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it, I would say. Interesting.
So she puts him in a rather interesting cell where you don't watch out, you'll fall to your death.
Open
Cell
wall
with a
cell.
view.
Yes. So how did you feel about Catelyn and Tyrion, and then introduction to the Eyrie with Lady Lysa and Robin Arryn? Tyler?
Well, the Eyrie and all of those people involved were quite an interesting introduction. They are a little bit more out there than I expected them to be. Whether it be, their introduction on the throne, full-grown kid breastfeeding, that was a bit strange. And then even down to their cells where they keep prisoners, it's kind of an odd setup. But I mean, I like that setup at least. It was an interesting, different kind of interpretation of a prison cell. But yeah, I thought it was really interesting how Tyrion actually saved her life and bashed that dude face in with that shield. The fight was awesome. It was a really good fight. But there's some really good fights in this episode. But that was a surprise seeing Tyrion take that shield and just bash that guy's face in.
Some brutal stuff this episode too. It's like, oh, some of these kills were quite brutal, including that one from Tyrion.
Yeah, I was like, that was brutal. That was a surprise, just him beating that guy's face in with the shield. That and the horse decapitation.
Yeah, the horse.
That was the one that surprised me. Like, you're gonna take your anger out on a horse. Like, was it the mountain that did that? Yeah, he's on the I guess the bad people list now.
Alyssa, how did you feel about all of them up at the Eyrie?
Yeah, I agree with Tyler that they're kind of a weird bunch up there. That kid, I don't know about him. I feel it's going to be interesting, as the series goes on. If he's still alive, at that point, is he going to be a 18-year-old guy breastfeeding still? We'll see how this show pans out. I did like the prison cell. I thought that was an interesting setup. I don't think Tyrion's going to like it very much, but
No.
I do like the place, and like Tyler mentioned during the actual reaction, she has a kind of a cool throne there.
A fun aesthetic
weird people.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe them in a nutshell.
As far as the fight out on the way to Eyrie, I agree that was a pretty good fight. There was a lot of brutal stuff, people getting speared and everything, and then Tyrion with that shield. I mean, the shield was as big as he was, but he was really he could handle himself with it. And
Tyler, with all your your film drops, did you not recognize Lady Liza Aaron from The Witch?
Oh yeah. I haven't watched. I haven't watched The Witch in a long
She
time.
is the mother from The Witch. The interesting mother in that film as well.
Yeah. She has quite a eclectic role base for her. It seems when it comes to the roles that she takes.
Then down in King's Landing is where pretty much all of the rest of the episode takes place. Lots of plotting and scheming in King's Landing, starring none other than our resident plotters and schemers, Varys and Littlefinger, and they had quite the little battle of wits amongst themselves there in the throne room, as Tyler mentioned, throwing jabs at one another, but also kind of doing a little bit of a chess, feeling each other out on what they know and what information they have and how they're trying to use it. And we also get Littlefinger telling Ned before he leaves that he would like him to come and speak to the last person Jon Arryn spoke to before he died. Varys, on the other hand, got his moment with Ned where he started to reveal some information about Jon Arryn's death, including the tears of Lees, which is the poison used to kill Jon Arryn, and the idea that Sir Hugh, who got killed last episode, was the one who gave it to him. But then, right after that scene where he's telling Lord Ned Stark that he trusts him now, Arya overhears Lord Varys talking about the Dothraki a little bit, and they also start talking about killing the Hand of the King, stating if one hand can die, why not another? Oh, how did you feel about Varys and Littlefinger this episode, Alyssa?
I still kind of like Littlefinger. I think he is slightly more trustworthy. I don't know how trustworthy. I can't.
Come on.
I haven't quite. Haven't quite decided on whether he was kind of setting up Ed at the end there or not. I don't think he was. I think it's just kind of bad timing, and somehow, incest twin number 2 there found out through some other means, probably through the other guy, Lord Varys. I don't like him. An episode full of characters that I don't like. But I did like Arya.
You didn't gain empathy for him, learning that he's a eunuch?
No.
Lord Varys.
Yeah, that was an interesting little tidbit of knowledge
Nah.
that Littlefinger threw that out there. And it's like, wait a minute, did he mean that literally? Like his 2 balls?
Quite literally. And Tyler, how did you feel about Varys and Littlefinger this episode?
I think it was interesting seeing these 2 nefarious characters go head to head, just with their own sort of nefarious sort of ways, trying to weed their way around each other, just to get a feel of how what they want to gain from their evil plan. I think they both have evil plans of some kind. I just don't know if their evil plans will mesh. I don't think they're going to come together with their evil plan. But I'm sure one of their evil plans will prevail. I guess we don't completely know if they're both bad people, but I feel like at least one of them is. And if I had to put my money on one of them being the bad one, it would be Littlefinger, especially with what entailed at the end of the episode with Ned and everyone around Ned being brutally murdered.
Right. Well, we also talked a little bit more to Renly Baratheon, who is Robert Baratheon's youngest brother. First, we meet Sir Loras Tyrell, who actually defeats the mountain and leads to the mountain having a temper tantrum and petting his horse, and then fighting his brother, who basically saves Loras in the mountain's fit of rage before he's let to just storm off from the king. But that's the first time we meet Sir Loras, who obviously catches Sansa's eye. But we learn later in the episode that Sir Loras has eyes for Renly Baratheon. In their discussion, Loras is trying to convince Renly that he is the one who should actually be king, even though he is 4th in line. So how are you feeling about Loras and Renly from the bit we've received, Alyssa?
I really want him to shave that guy's other armpit. That is my big takeaway from that.
Priorities.
It's bothering me still. this guy is like walking around with one hairy armpit and one shaved one, and it's uneven. It shouldn't stay that way.
Before you get on your knees, you have to finish the job.
Balance it
Tyler,
out.
how did you feel about them?
I mean, from the little that we got from their characters, I thought they were cool. I am a little biased just because, like, the first moment he popped up, I was like, oh my god, that's the guy that played Iron Fist. But I think they were interesting enough characters. I was sad to see. Well, I'm okay with the LGBT representation.
Get away from
but I was like, well, yeah, I just thought, okay, well, that's kind of cool. I could see them working out, and then turns out he doesn't swing that way. Or I guess, maybe he's, like I said, maybe he's bisexual. I'm just gonna keep the dream alive. Maybe he swings both ways. And they were fun for what we got. We didn't get too much with them. I would be curious to see how he's going to somehow forge a path to the throne when he's fourth in line. That seems very unlikely, without having to, murder a lot of people. But we'll see.
Presumably including his own brother.
Well, yeah, the conflict of murdering a lot of your family because you're fourth in line.
Right, and then you mentioned her. We did get just a little smidgen of Arya running around this episode. So she was training, though we did not actually see her dance instructor, if you will. She was chasing cats, and she stumbled upon this dungeon beneath the castle, which keeps the old dragon skulls from the years past, which we had actually heard Viserys talk about last episode, those dragon skulls he saw when he still lived in the capital.
With all those names, right? They all had like those really odd names.
But while she's down there, as we said, she heard one that she thought was fat and someone else talking about killing. And then bosses her way back into the capital when the guards don't want to let this little boy in. She's referred to a boy twice in this episode.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. Just like, boy, like she clearly still looks like a girl.
I was like, she doesn't really resemble a boy to me, but apparently if you're dirty, you're a boy.
How that works, I guess, in this world.
Then she goes to tell her father. Doesn't really react much, but part of that is because he's interrupted when someone from the Night's Watch comes in to tell him, your wife has taken Tyrion hostage.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, so not much to talk about with Arya, but did either of you have any thoughts on her this go round?
I still think she's awesome. She's still probably the best character. So, but I liked her. I like this one.
Yeah, same. I mean, my main thing I said during the reaction was like she could have fit through that. Like, it looked like to me there was enough space if she really wanted to get through that pathway. Like the lock was stopping her, but the gap was like this big.
And she didn't find the cat. I mean, you gotta catch the cat.
No,
she failed. She failed her mission.
Failed her mission. Well, before we get to the big storyline, all revolving around Ned, we'll just quickly touch base on what happened in Winterfell, one of the few only other locations we saw this episode. We saw Bran was basically kind of bitter and mad at his mom for leaving him. And then we later see Theon with the famous Roz up in the whorehouse. He's like questioning her about Tyrion and what he did, and she gives a nice little rundown. And they also make point to show Roz throw some shade at him as well about him being a ward of the Stark family, and just another reminder of him not really being a Stark. Yeah, again, not much happened up in Winterfell, but anything to say about Theon, Bran, Roz, any of that? Full frontal male nudity per sec.
That was a surprise, yeah. The front frontal nudity was interesting. I don't really have too much of a feel yet for Theon Greyjoy. I mean, we don't really get too much with him yet. I mean, we get like very small spurts. I don't have like a great idea of him as a character yet. I mean, it was nice to see Bran up and doing things, even if he's a little bit bitter about, life in general. But yeah, I mean, I don't know where the rest of the people are as far as like Richard Madden, or was it Rob? Rob was somewhere, and I guess was it the other one was somewhere.
Rickon. Yeah.
The other one was somewhere.
I'm sure he was somewhere. Yeah, in the writer's head because he doesn't exist yet.
We didn't see.
So-
There are 3 wolves prowling around Winterfell somewhere, and we didn't see any of them.
Yeah.
The episode something about wolves, and all we see is a cat.
Oh, we just got a
And we don't
cat.
even see the shadow cats.
I
Just a
know.
regular cat.
Well, then we get to the big storyline of the episode. Obviously, we spent a lot of time with Ned here as he is going around, still kind of searching, as I said, talking to Varys and trying to figure out why someone wanted Jon Arryn dead. And Lord Varys tells him he started asking too many questions, which Ned is currently in the process of asking quite a lot of questions.
Yeah.
But he is then summoned to a small council meeting in which Robert Baratheon has found out that Daenerys Targaryen is pregnant. And we learn that Varys found out this information from Jorah Mormont. So Robert says, we gotta kill her. Ned does not agree, causing Ned to give up his position as hand to the king, preparing to leave for Winterfell with his children. Meanwhile, we get that scene with Robert and Cersei, kind of just showing how much Robert loved Ned's sister, Lyanna Stark, and how much he really doesn't care about Cersei ever. Robert is also talking about the Dothraki, and it gives a little bit of insight about the dangers of the Dothraki with lines like, only a fool would meet the Dothraki in an open field, and why he views Daenerys' unborn child as such a threat, as well as possibly Viserys if he has this Dothraki horde behind him. So, how did you feel about Robert this episode? We got a lot more with him than we had the past couple. Some big swings from like happy, jolly with Ned, really angry and really mean. Tyler, you commented on him a little bit as we moved along.
Yeah, I mean it's a shame because like he seemed like such like a good old jolly king, you know, earlier on in this season, and now he's kind of just showing his true colors. He obviously has quite devious intentions. I mean, he clearly has no remorse for a lot of the things he's done. It seems like he's done quite a lot of terrible things, as it keeps getting revealed throughout the episodes. How he feels about people in general, whether it be his own wife, how he doesn't care about her really whatsoever. Says it like right to her face, you know. And we had previous episodes where he's just like describing all these brutal, awful things he did in war, and then he wanted to joust somebody in the earlier on in the episode, and then the strife between him and Ned, because I mean that's been a long time coming. It's a shame because like Ned and him seem so close, like they were good, you know, they were allies, and now we're basically at a head where him and Ned aren't really getting along whatsoever, which I feel like could be a bad thing for Ned, as we see later on in the episode. Him basically turning his back on him may not be a smart thing in this situation.
So how did you feel about Ned or Robert's storyline through the episode?
Yeah, I've never been a huge fan of him over the course of this. I thought he was okay in the beginning. Like Tyler said, he's always kind of had this sort of jolly thing going on the first episode. But yeah, he's a jerk. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard because I really don't like many characters in this show. And so it's kind of hard to care about any of them when I like hate them as much as I do. I don't know. I hope that guy who's fourth in line kills him, and then we move on and have some better characters.
He's gonna have to kill a bunch of people. He's fourth in line.
Well, then, good old Ned, after he resigns from being the Hand of the King, he listens to Littlefinger and decides to go meet up with the last person that he spoke with, finding out that it is the mother and her very large child.
It was a large child.
Robert Baratheon's second bastard child. From there, Ned goes to leave, and when he does exit this brothel, he is confronted by an ambush from Jaime Lannister, who questioned him on his brother Tyrion Lannister being taken. Ned says that Catelyn did it on his command, and thus battle ensues. Though Jaime does spare Ned's life, basically because Ned is like, well, if you kill me, she's going to kill your brother. So do that if you
Yeah,
want to, I
trade
guess.
off.
But in the process, poor Jory, who is Ned's like main guy in the capital, the one he trusts most, is stabbed through the head by Jaime Lannister. All of Ned's other men are also killed in the process. And after a nice standoff between Ned and Jaime, one of the Lannister soldiers, cheap shot, stabs Ned in the back of the leg, and they just leave him there in the street. How do we feel about Ned's storyline this episode, Alyssa?
Yeah, I mean, I think he probably was one of the more interesting characters overall in this whole episode. I don't know, the ending, like I said, I still am not entirely sure of like Littlefinger's motives here, if he's really, if he was setting him up or not. I don't think so. I don't know. With Ned, like I thought that fight was good. That was another pretty brutal fight, kind of like what we saw heading out to Erie. I mean, the guy, his guys get like stabbed through the neck, like with all those spears that get thrown.
Yeah.
So that was pretty intense.
Straight through the eye with that knife.
Yeah, the knife.
Violence.
Like I said, should have let the guy look at the prostitute a little bit longer. Yeah, I mean, I thought that was good. It was interesting how Amy kind of had like almost a little bit of honor there with being upset with his soldier who stabbed him. Just like, I don't know if he killed him or just knocked him out or whatever happened there. But that was a unique turn. I wouldn't have expected that from one of the incest twins. I don't know. And then just watching Sean Bean, like Tyler said, it's just he doesn't have a good track record of living in things. And so I was just like watching that, like, oh, he's gonna die. So I don't know. I don't think he is dead. I think he's gonna survive. I mean, this seems less serious than Bran getting shoved out a window, and he's okay. So maybe one of the wolves will come in to his rescue. Who knows? I think Arya is gonna find him and like, I don't know, fashion something to like drag him back to the castle. Who knows? I hope he lives because he's one of the characters that I actually like. But
Right, Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, poor Ned. I mean, I love Ned. He's a great character, and it's just a shame seeing all the stuff he has to go through and his mystery, and now his mystery solving, and now this where he has to fight Jaime, and he basically got cheap shotted, pretty badly. I hope he lives. I mean, they did leave it a little bit ambiguous with him just laying there with a spear through his leg, obviously, because like as Alyssa said, is one of the characters I do really like in the show. I am nervous, especially as the strife between him and Robert Baratheon is like so strong now. Like they clearly aren't getting along, which I feel like could really like bite him in the back, so to speak, with everything that's transpiring between him and Jaime and the stuff with Tyrion. So we'll see. I mean, it's not looking good for him though. I mean, all of his friends are dead, and he has a spear through his leg, so it's not looking too good.
Fave and least fave characters and how that may or may not have switched up after episode 5. And we'll start with Alyssa.
Favorites, that has not changed. I think everybody knows at this point that I kind of like Arya as a character. I still think she probably had some of the best moments in this episode, between kind of doing her little unintentional spying and then just her whole thing with the guards there getting back in. It's just funny. I still like her, but I like Ned a little bit more in this episode. He's been one that I've always liked, but like, I don't know. My enjoyment of his character has grown over these episodes, and I still like him. So I hope he doesn't die, but who knows? And I guess, I don't know, probably Littlefinger. He's kind of, I don't know. I don't like him, but I don't dislike him. He's kind of on the higher side of like, he's an okay character for me. In terms of ones I don't like, Robert is quickly climbing into that list of characters I don't like. He was kind of an average one to me, like one that I didn't really have any strong opinion of, but I don't like him in this episode for sure. I mean, we didn't get much of the incest twins, just a little bit with Cersei and a little bit with Jaime at the end there, but I don't really particularly care for either of them. Lord Varys, I don't like him. despite the fact that he's a eunuch. I know you guys want me to feel some sympathy for him there, but I do not.
I don't
And
care about sympathy. I just thought it was interesting.
and I don't like the giant breastfeeding boy, but
Oh.
just because
Oh,
he's
Robin
weird.
Instantly dislike. All right, Tyler, who are your faves and least faves?
I don't really think any of my favorites have really changed. Ned's one of my favorites. I mean, he's probably my favorite storyline going on. Arya, still pretty great, even with her very limited screen time in this episode. I mean, Tyrion's also still fantastic. He was a lot more physical in this episode. I mean, he was still quite witty, but he bashed that guy's face in, and then he had some fun quips here and there as he was a prisoner. As far as characters I dislike, Viserys is still at the very top, even if he didn't make an appearance in this episode. But
yeah, he's still up there for me too. I was trying to limit it, but if we're going with everybody, yeah.
Sadly, as much as I don't like to, admit it, I would have to probably put Robert Baratheon up there as well. He's slowly becoming like a really terrible person. Same with Jaime. Jaime is slowly becoming like a character I really dislike as well. He seems to be becoming quite even more so of a terrible person. Littlefinger.
He pushed Bran Muffin out the window. You liked him at some point here? I mean, that was the first episode.
Well, no, he was terrible, but he's getting worse. He tried to kill Bran, but he didn't die. He literally stabbed a guy through the face in this episode, progressively getting worse. Now he's going into full murder people mode. I mean, he wasn't really an integral part of the episode, but I was really not a big fan of the Mountain just straight up murdering his horse. But I think that would be it as far as it would be, Viserys, Robert Baratheon, Littlefinger, Jaime. So yeah, I guess it's not too different.
All right, and predictions. So, Alyssa, what are your predictions?
I think that Ned is going to survive this. I don't think Sean Bean is going to survive all 8 seasons, but I think he will survive this at least. I don't know how he's going to survive. I don't know who's going to show up. Maybe Littlefinger is going to show up and make my trust in him even more ambiguous or uncertain. But I think he is going to survive. It's interesting, though, because if he's being attacked, that means Arya and Sansa are back in the castle or whatever. But they do have all the other guards. It seemed like he only brought 2 guys plus his little right-hand man guy.
R.I.P. Jory, he did say that Ned had 50 in the capital, so.
I think they'll be okay, but I feel like Arya might somehow evade her guardian guys and try to fight somebody and do something. But I don't know. The Wall, I don't know. I don't really care about the stuff at the Wall, to be honest. I don't like Sam. I still think he's gonna die pretty soon. I really want to see the wolf in an elevator. But that's the extent.
That's your one prediction for the Wall. Wolf.
That's all you want. That's all you want.
Please.
A wolf in an elevator.
I feel something exciting happen. Once those evil glowing eye things start coming down over the wall, then it'll be more interesting.
The White Walkers,
yeah. I don't know what's gonna happen at Erie. I don't think Tyrion's gonna pull a Bran and try and do an Assassin's Creed out of his cell, but who knows?
I would love that.
I don't think he has
wanted
quite
to kill
the
him
agility.
immediately. So the little boy was kill the bad man, mommy.
Well, he's hopped up on milk, so who knows what's going through his mind. I guess the big thing is I think Ned's gonna survive at least until next episode.
How do you feel about Robert did issue the order to assassinate Daenerys, so that is now out there as well.
Yeah, I don't think the
sort of
Dothrakis will let that
happen
happen.
on her life, presumably looms after today.
Well, maybe her dragon eggs will hatch, and then she'll be able to fly over the narrow sea, as long as they're not dog-sized dragons.
They're not chihuahuas.
We can only hope.
All right, Tyler, your predictions moving forward?
I definitely think that Ned will live. I think someone will come to his aid, or maybe he'll just, walk it off. I don't know. We don't know how. We'll see. I mean, it's like a giant spear through his left thigh, so I don't know how far he can go. But other than Ned, I think Littlefinger is probably involved in some way because I
So
just think
so you don't you don't agree with Alyssa that he'll come and save Ned from the street?
No, if anything, I think he's the one that tipped him off. I just don't trust Littlefinger at all, and Varys as well. But I think Littlefinger is the one that was behind it. But other than that, I mean, I'm sure Tyrion's gonna get out of his cell one way or another. I mean, I don't think he's gonna like go out the front because it's open.
Are you hoping he just jumps out the window and
I mean,
hopes for
I
the
don't.
best?
I mean, if it's like Assassin's Creed and there's like a barrel of like a barrel of hay, like maybe he'll be okay because that's usually how it works in Assassin's Creed. But I think he'll get out in one way or another. They'll finally maybe realize that he wasn't involved in that at all because he's been saying that he basically is like, I've been really busy just killing all these people or trying to kill all these people. He's done nothing. But
Do you think
other
maybe
than
he's
that,
starting to get through to Catelyn as he like continues to beat it into her head?
I think eventually he'll convince her enough with logic and reasoning maybe. But other than those, I think eventually we're going to definitely get a showdown between Rob's army and the Dothraki and Daenerys and maybe Viserys if he lives long enough to see the battle because I'm
You
sure
sound so
inevitably.
enthused, hoping he
Well-
lives to see the battle.
Well, I mean, or he could be in the battle and then die. I mean, that would also, I guess, be
Just
beneficial.
one way or another, can we please have him die?
Yeah,
If
'cause,
not
I mean,
before, can he get killed during the battle, please?
yeah, I think it would be I think it will be a fun battle between Rob's army and whoever he sends. I mean, I feel like it won't be an army initially, especially since it's supposed to be like an assassination kind of thing. You don't send an army to assassinate somebody, but but I could see eventually there being a showdown between them, whether it be in this season or inevitably when Daenerys does have the baby, and then they get because they have to wait apparently for Khal Drogo. He won't he'll wait till his son is born.
What about the little nugget that Varys dropped to Ned? Do you think anything will come of his warning that they are plotting some mysterious one, is plotting the same fate of Jon Arryn for Robert Baratheon? So,
Yeah, I can see
any
that
thoughts on
happening.
that? On
I think
one who
I think
might
someone.
be wanting to kill him and how that might go down?
I think I could definitely see him getting poisoned. I mean, he seems like he's very easily I feel like it's very easy to poison him with the amount of
all he does
wine
is
he ingests. He clearly just drinks a lot of wine. I don't think it would be very difficult to poison him if they really wanted to. I mean, whether it be from the actual poison or like alcohol poisoning. I mean, whichever one you want to use.
Keep handing it to him. Give him more than he wants, even.
Yeah, so I mean, I can see it happening. I mean, there's probably a fair amount of people out there that don't like him. Maybe perhaps his brother, who's fourth in line, could be poisoning him because he wants to move up, or maybe even Iron Fist guy wants to help out.
It was his idea.
It wants to help him out a little bit. Maybe he can speed up the process. We'll see.
Alyssa, any thoughts on Robert? Is he gonna survive? Is he gonna get assassinated, poisoned, or any of that?
I think he's gonna die too. I don't know when. I think probably sometime in these first couple seasons, I would imagine. And yeah, like I think he has a lot of enemies, so I think there's a number of people who would want him dead. But I agree, it's either uneven armpit guy or his shaving buddy.
Iron Fist.
That's a very lovely way to put it, Alyssa. Shaving buddy. Oh, perfect. So we will see how all of this starts to play out as we continue to move forward with backstabbing and intrigue and maybe some more fights and brutal battles to come. And again, RIP to poor Jory. Ned is now without his right-hand man. Also, RIP to that poor horse who did not deserve to get
unnamed
beheaded.
horse.
In
Unnamed
such a
horse.
brutal fashion. But that was our reaction and discussion on episode 5 of season 1 for Game of Thrones, Wolf and the Lion. Alyssa, why don't you go ahead and tell everyone where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Mainly Movies.
And Tyler.
You can find me on YouTube at Tyler Calvert and on Twitter and Instagram at It's Tyler Calvert.
Perfect. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on all of our reactions as we work our way through all 8 seasons, plus so that you are up to date on all of my latest videos. Make sure to leave your thoughts and opinions on episode 5 in the comment section down below, or as you heard, you can hit any of us up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.